Members of the legislature, executive officers, members of the judiciary, and to our fellow Oklahomans, may I present to you the governor of the great state of Oklahoma, Kevin Stitt.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Please have a seat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Man, I am just overwhelmed with emotion and joy. It's just unbelievable walking in here as governor. I wish y'all could experience this. It's crazy. So I want to first thank Oklahomans and all of you in the gallery and all you sitting out here for allowing me to serve as your 28th governor. It is truly a humbling, and exciting experience. And I want to thank my Heavenly Father for allowing me and putting me in this exact seat in this time in history because He calls us according to His purpose and His plan. And I know He's called every one of us in this room to do great things for Oklahoma. So it is going to be an exciting year. I'm so excited to see what happens working with you guys as I roll up my sleeves. So before we get started, I wanted to recognize some of the honored guests that are with us. Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell. We better wait till the end because there's a bunch of people to recognize, and then we'll clap. All the statewide elected officials, President Pro Tem Greg Treat, Speaker Charles McCall, Speaker Pro Tem Harold Wright, members of the 57th Legislature, cabinet members, Chief Justice Noah Gurich, and members of the Oklahoma Supreme Court, tribal leaders, friends, guests, my beloved First Lady Sarah, my 6 children, my parents, and the most important audience, my fellow Oklahomans. I stand before you today to offer a vision for Oklahoma's future that gives purpose and direction for how our new administration will lead the state. My vision for Oklahoma is very clear and simple: to make Oklahoma top 10. My purpose is to work with you to deliver a turnaround that ensures a better future for all 4 million Oklahomans. I believe it is a purpose we all share in this room today. Before we get into the details of my very first budget, I want to discuss how we position Oklahoma well for a turnaround by defining the term and the expectations for this vision. Oklahoma's turnaround is when our state stops moving in the direction of decline and begins moving in the direction we want to go, to be top 10 in the nation. To get there, it's going to require 3 steps. First, we must bring together people from across the state with various backgrounds, skills, and talents to serve in critical leadership roles. Second, we must set measurable goals and put metrics in place so every state employee, agency leader, member of my administration, and each of you in our state legislature can be part of one team with one vision. Third, we must hold ourselves responsible for delivering results and reimagining the possibilities. I've said it before, Oklahoma's challenges are no different than any other state. And Oklahoma's opportunities, I believe, are the best in the nation. Going through this process will put Oklahoma on the path to be top 10. And if anyone thinks that becoming top 10 is just a campaign slogan, let me tell you, this turnaround is already underway with individuals who are delivering top 10 outcomes in their classrooms, communities, and industries. Consider Donna Grottle. She's an environmental teacher at Broken Arrow Public Schools. 2 weeks ago, she was named one of the top 4 teachers in the nation. Donna Donna reimagined the classroom. She moved beyond the textbook by taking her classroom outside, to partner with the city of Broken Arrow to clean public water, and by taking the classroom to the world by developing a system to provide sustainable food sources to orphans in Kenya. Donna, I really appreciate you being here today. Give her another round of applause. Consider the gathering place. USA Today named it the #1 place in America to visit in 2019. It's an example of public-private partnership where 55 acres stretched across the Tulsa riverfront. But the George Kaiser Family Foundation reimagined a free park that is bringing together all ages, races, and categories of people to enjoy Tulsa. I took my 4-year-old there on Saturday, and we had a blast. Consider the Oklahoma Youth Expo community. In the early 2000s, this youth livestock show was struggling to survive. But donors, Oklahoma families, and the legislature came together, assessed their resources, and reimagined the program. Today, OYE is not just the #1 junior livestock show in America, it is the largest in the world. Today, OYE garners young participants from all 77 counties. They award hundreds of thousands of dollars in education scholarships and has shown a $22 million economic impact in Oklahoma City. These are just a few examples of Oklahomans who brought together a team, set measurable goals, reimagined the possibilities, and executed on their vision to deliver top 10 results. Today, as I present my very first budget, I ask you to join me in reimagining. Today, as we consider the state of our state, Oklahomans are presented with revenue growth of potentially $600 million, a 3.6% unemployment rate, rising wages, and a spirit of optimism. This is because of Oklahomans who are working hard, taking risks, opening new businesses, and creating jobs. You see, the government does not create wealth, only the private sector can. In my administration, every policy decision will promote a healthy economy. I want to also recognize President Pro Tem Greg Treat and Speaker Charles McCall, who provided committed leadership over the past few years to make hard decisions to demonstrate our state's support of core services that Oklahomans and job creators rely on. As I promised on the campaign trail, I brought them in to our process of reimagining this budget. And as I outline my administration's priorities this year, I want to make it clear. As elected officials, we will not always agree on the specifics of every policy, and that's okay. We were each elected for different reasons and because of specific issues. But you will always find my office willing to work with you and to be open-minded on policy differences, because what unites us in this room is that we are committed to reimagining how we can do state government better and deliver a brighter future for all Oklahomans. Thank you. First, let's reimagine state government. Our state constitution vests supreme executive power in the office of the governor. But too often, that executive power, it's been delegated by statutes to boards that are not directly accountable to the citizens of Oklahoma. State government today is much larger than it was 112 years ago. And as a result, accountabilities for those in power is spread too thin, and at times it seems as if no one is really in charge. The health department's crisis in 2017 taught us this lesson, and the legislature wisely restructured the agencies to an advisory board and gave the executive branch the authority to hire and fire a new leader. Let's not wait for another crisis to start making these reforms possible across our largest state agencies. You know, I believe Oklahomans want three things: accountability, transparency, and results. And I know the legislature wants that too. Both the Senate and House leadership are committed to addressing the structure of our state's largest agencies so that government is held more accountable to the people. By granting the governor hiring and firing authority, you will know exactly where the buck stops: at my desk. But reform should not stop here. We will also seek to remove board members across state government when they have conflicts of interest. And we will look to sunset and consolidate boards and commissions where there is overlap and duplication. This is common sense reform. My budget will prioritize funding to continue performance audits of the top 12 agencies. We will fund this effort by immediately recalling the $30 million that was given to the health department after the agency misrepresented their financial standing to the legislature. We will also reimagine state government so that our customers, Oklahoma taxpayers, are the primary focus. This is why I have placed a special emphasis in my administration on the digital transformation of state agencies. Today, I'm calling for the legislature to fund a $20 million grant program so where agencies can apply to receive funds to bring their services into the 21st century and to make government more customer-centered and efficient. Imagine digital driver's licenses that are Real ID compliant. Imagine titles available electronically. Imagine one site to obtain occupational licenses and one site to pay taxes. It is time to get it done. It is time to improve our government's D+ ranking in digital transparency and for the state government's checkbook to be online, up to date, and easy to navigate. It's time for online dashboards where you can monitor my administration's progress on performance metrics we are going to set for all the state services. Now, turning my attention to education, my administration is committed to public education. And I understand that the large majority of our students attend public schools. Over the next few years, we will move the needle in outcomes. We will set high standards. We will enact reforms. We will invest in the classroom. But we must first continue our investment in the teacher, because it's not programs, curriculum, or resources that students will remember. The magic happens between the student and the teachers in the classroom. We are confronted with a nationwide teacher shortage. This is not a problem unique to our state, but Oklahoma was among the hardest hit. With recent revenue growth, I asked the legislature to bring our teachers to #1 in our region in pay and benefits. This amounts to a $1,200. This is a $1,200 increase per teacher. But I'm also calling for the legislature to fund a bonus recruitment program, up to $5 million, to encourage certified teachers to stay in Oklahoma. We've got to keep our teachers here after they graduate from college. We want to encourage them to return to the classroom after a hiatus or to move to Oklahoma for the very first time. And I applaud Representative Rhonda Baker's collaboration to get this effort underway. And I appreciate House Minority Leader Emily Virgin and her caucus for their support of continued pay increases for our teachers. We must also standardize the certification test for Oklahoma teachers, get rid of the 5-year renewal fee, and reduce unnecessary paperwork and bureaucracy on our high-performing schools, and instead shift our resources to help the schools who need it the most. But these reforms and continued investment from the state will not be enough to make Oklahoma's education system competitive. We must do the hard work of reimagining education. Consider Cecilia Robinson Woods. She's the superintendent of Millwood School District here in Oklahoma City. After assessing the resources and unique challenges of her district, Cecilia reimagined ways to recruit and retain talent in her classrooms. It was important that teachers were not just skilled in their profession, but that they were also passionate leaders who could shape the culture of their schools and district. Cecilia partnered with Teach for America. She utilized opportunities offered under state law and implemented a new reading program. Today, the Millwood School District has seen dramatic positive progress and outcomes. Cecilia, thank you so much for being here today. We must also look at ways to better stabilize the funding of public education. The fact that Texas is preparing to pass a teacher pay increase at a cost of $3.7 billion compels us to review and reform our state's funding formula and take the handcuffs off local communities. They're wanting to do more to compete, to recruit, and retain the very best teachers. We must chart a bold course that allows for communities to do more for their students without being penalized with the loss of state support. State government cannot fix education funding needs alone. We must stand arm in arm with communities, cities, and counties. Oklahoma is stronger when we were all working together. The process of reforming the formula demands a reimagining of school districts. We can ensure that they just don't have equal funding per student, but also equal opportunity. This will take time to study what other states are doing, what is working, and what challenges we must address that are unique to Oklahoma. And I am committed to being a continuous learner in this area and a leader in this discussion. We must not forget that education should be first and foremost about our students, not about systems. And I will sign into law any legislation that seeks to break down the silos that exist between Common Ed, career techs, and higher ed. We must better align the education experience for Oklahoma's children and prepare them for tomorrow's workforce to become machinists, computer programmers, engineers, and more. So let's take a moment now to reimagine our state's criminal justice system. We are #1 in the nation for incarceration. To move the needle, it will require us to change the way we see the person who is in a cycle of incarceration for nonviolent crimes. Many years ago, I was introduced to Melinda, who held the titles of daughter, mom, and fellow Oklahoman. But to the prison system, she was a drug offender. When I met her, she was looking for hope, for a better life for her son, and for an opportunity to change course. Today, she's been an employee at Gateway for more than 13 years. Her entry into the workforce was key to remaining sober and to becoming a thriving individual in our society. Melinda's story of redemption was possible because of a community of people who stepped in, walked with her, and gave her opportunity. Melinda, you are why I believe in second chances. Thank you for being here today. There can be more stories of redemption like hers. It's why my budget requests $1.5 million in recovery for women in recovery. Thank you. It's a public-private partnership to help women identify the roots of their addiction and develop life skills. And it's also why I'm asking for $10 million to the County Community Safety Investment Fund, a criminal justice reform initiative the people of Oklahoma approved with State Question 781. But money is not the sole action government must take here. I'm encouraged by legislation in the House to accomplish licensing reform for those with a felony. We must give Oklahomans re-entering society more opportunities to be gainfully employed. And we must give them, thank you. And we need to give our employers more discretion on who they can hire. We must also remember the people who work hard every day to keep our correctional facilities clean, safe, and operating. They are on the front lines of delivering core government services. And as revenue continues to improve, I urge us to consider ways we can better improve their work conditions and compensation. In my budget, we will also use revenue growth to address two critical health care programs in Oklahoma. The Graduate Medical Expense Program to train new doctors, a cost of $62 million, and the Children's Health Insurance Program, a cost of $14.8 million. These programs remind us why we must be judicious and thoughtful about seeking federal funds. In fiscal year 2020, these two programs alone will cost the state of Oklahoma $77 million that the federal government once paid. That's a 6.8% increase to the Healthcare Authority's budget. You see, when Washington, D.C. wants to end a program, we are left holding the bag and covering the cost. While Medicaid expansion currently stops at a 90% federal match, we cannot assume that will remain this high forever. The estimated $150 million price tag today for Oklahoma to expand Medicaid could leave us down the road fronting more than $1 billion when the federal government pulls back on its commitment. They've done it before, and they'll likely do it again. Medicaid is the fastest growing expense in our state budget. And before we commit our state to accepting even one more Medicaid dollar, Oklahomans deserve accountability and transparency with our state's management of the Healthcare Authority. Oklahoma is the only state in the nation where the governor does not have the authority to provide oversight of this agency. We are sticking out like a sore thumb, and this must change. Healthcare is also preventative, promoting wellness through education, personal responsibility, and raising awareness. Today, I am announcing my partnership with the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon to hold a Governor's Relay Challenge, and I'm inviting all of you to join me. I'm also going to invite the speaker and the Senate to form a relay team, and we'll have a little competition. And the winner of this relay team will join me for lunch at the governor's mansion. Not just these two, but I'm talking about the real winner, the person that wins the whole thing. So now let's move to the economy. In order to make our efforts in state government sustainable, we must grow Oklahoma. You see, we need more taxpayers, not more taxes. We will reimagine our economy by diversifying our marketplace, strengthening our workforce, and encouraging Oklahomans to start new businesses. Our rules must be clear, our regulations must make sense, and our tax code must remain competitive with our neighbors. At the Department of Commerce, I have hired the very best talent in the state to lead this critical agency. And they have set measurable goals and are running hard to tell the world Oklahoma is open for business. To best equip this agency's mission, I asked the legislature to support additional funds for the governor's Quick Action Closing Fund. Since its inception, the state has granted $11 million in total awards. This has attracted high-paying jobs with the Macy's Large Distribution Center in Owasso, with Boeing's relocation of the Aircraft Modernization and Sustainment Business Unit, and with the Commercial Metals Company in Durant, and many more. Today, the balance of Oklahoma's Quick Action Closing Fund is $4.3 million. By comparison, the latest legislative report for the Texas Enterprise Fund indicates the state has awarded $609 million, and it's in tune, and they've gotten 94,000 jobs. In Arkansas, their fund has awarded over $120 million, resulting in 26,000 jobs. You can help me sign on the dotted line for new opportunities to grow Oklahoma and demonstrate to the nation that Oklahoma is not afraid to compete with our neighbors and that we intend to win. As we close our time together, let's end by reimagining our state budget. I promised Oklahomans that we would get to the bottom of every tax dollar, and I promised to be transparent and open about the budget process. For the first time in recent history, the governor's budget provides you with every tax dollar we could find across the 12 largest agencies, which are spending 90% of the state's total budget. It is important we talk total dollars. This was the one consistent request I heard from Oklahomans across the campaign trail. In this budget package, I have also included agencies' current performance goals. As we move forward together this year, my administration will be working with agencies to hire the very best, raise accountability, and deliver measurable results. My vision for the budget is for it to become a meaningful resource each year, to establish a common language for lawmakers and taxpayers and create a transparent budget process. Now, as we dig into the numbers, instead of across-the-board increases in fiscal year 2020, my budget addresses more than $230 million in obligations and another $150 million in critical needs. My budget also casts a bold goal for our state's savings account. I've said often why I believe the state needs $2 billion in savings. When we look at states where the economy depends on the price of oil, they place a strong emphasis on savings during the good years. And one thing we know is true is oil prices are going to go up and oil prices are going to go down. When energy prices tumble, it directly impacts the state's sales tax collection, the state's income tax collection, the gross production tax, and various other revenue streams. We must be honest with ourselves and recognize that last year's tax increases made us more dependent on the price of oil. We must be good fiscal stewards of this decision by creating more stability through savings. At the end of fiscal year 2019, our rainy day fund will have approximately $874 million with no additional support from a stabilization fund that's often seen in other oil-rich states. Meanwhile, Texas has $12.5 billion in total savings to weather another economic downturn. North Dakota's total savings is more than $5.8 billion. This is why I'm setting a goal for Oklahoma to have $1.1 billion in our savings by the end of fiscal year 2020. To get there, we must set aside an additional $250 million from revenue growth. Being conservative with our budget surplus today will protect Oklahoma from having to cut core services in the future. As I close, let us remember, the future doesn't just happen. We make it happen. As public servants, our responsibility and purpose is to ensure a better future for all 4 million Oklahomans. This will require us to be good listeners, continuous learners, committed communicators, and bold leaders, both inside this building and across the state. Our vision is to make Oklahoma top 10. Join me. As we work together, we will move our whole state forward. God bless you, and God bless the state of Oklahoma.